Hello students. Now from today onwards we'll begin our next topic of history, that is spread of new ideas. Okay. Now students, in this topic you will study about the religious changes which were taken place in 6th century. Okay. And it was a period when many religious teachers, philosophers and thinkers lived. Okay. Now here in detail, you will study about the two great men, that is Gautam Buddha and Vardhaman Mahavira. And also you will study about the teachings, their message given to the people. Okay. Now let us begin with our first great man, that is Buddha. Okay, Buddhism and Gautam Buddha. Gautam Buddha, his real name was Siddhartha, and he was also born in the Shakyagana. Okay, that is, he was a Kshatriya by birth. Got it? And his father's name was Subodhana, and he was a chief of Shakyagana. Okay, now students, first of all, why his name was changed from Siddhartha to Gautam Buddha? Because his means he was to be called as Buddha, and the particular meaning of Buddha is awakened one. Okay, what do you mean by Buddha? Means awakened one. After he experienced a profound realization of the nature of life, death, and existence, in English, the Buddha was said to be enlightened. Okay, that is awakened. Now, you may see the picture of Siddhartha, okay, that is sitting under the tree, and at last means he left everything, and he started under the people tree. He started gaining the knowledge. Okay, he left his normal life, and under the people tree he gained the knowledge. Okay, in both Gaya, and it is also known as the Mahabodhi tree. Now, Buddhartha preached his first sermon at Sarnath. Okay, and it is also known as Dharam Chakra Pravartana. Okay, now students, Buddha died at the age of 80 in 483 BC at Kushinagar. Okay, now teachings of Buddha. Let us begin with our next topic, that is teaching of Buddha. This is all about the Buddha's life. Now, what are the teachings and message given by Buddha? First is the life is full of sufferings and unhappiness. Plus, the next is constant craving could be overcome by following. Okay, and also people should be kind and respectful. Okay, the next is results of our action is known as karma, and also encouraged people to think for themselves rather than simply accept what he said. These are few teachings. Okay, now he also gave people the four noble truths. Okay, let us study what are the four noble truths. The first truth is the life is full of suffering. What do you mean by life is full of sufferings? Means there are difficulties, there are problems in each and everyone's life. Next is suffering comes from desire. Okay, means why desire or wanting. What do you mean by desire or wanting? Means you wish something and you won't get it. Means the explanation of proper this sentence, I'll tell you that one example I'll give you. If you demand your means from your parents anything, anything if you demand from your parents, and if you won't get it, you start crying and crying and telling, I want this, that. So this is a sort of suffering. Okay, if you won't desire anything, if you won't demand anything, nothing you will need. And if you will desire anything, of course you will suffer for it. Okay. The third truth is suffering stops when desire wanting stops. Means if you will not demand, just now I said you the same thing, that if you won't demand anything from anyone, you won't suffer. Okay. And the last truth is, in order to stop those desire wants, you have to follow the eightfold path. Now let us study the eightfold path. Now see here, the eightfold path are: first, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right understanding, right thought, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. Okay. Now let us proceed. These are same, of course, this eightfold path. And now this is all about the eightfold path. I hope you have understood the meaning of this word. That is right. Your view, intention, speech, action, everything should be in a proper manner. Means the thing is, whatever you speak, whatever is your intention, it should not hurt anyone else. Okay, means it should not hurt the feelings of anyone else, or it should not harm anyone. Okay, so these are the eightfold path given by Buddha. Okay. Now let us proceed to our next text. That is your religious text. That the paragraph, next paragraph of the topic is religious text. Now the teachings of the Buddha students were collected in the Tripitakas. Okay, Tripitakas means it is a name of a book. You may say the three baskets. What do you mean by Tripitakas? The three baskets, and they are written in Pali. Okay. Beside these, there are the Jataka tales relating to the Buddha's birth, okay, and his previous life. Of course, students, each and everything, the past you have not seen, but the history, the past history in present you are studying because of the various books, because of the various religions, because of the various happenings in the past. Okay, and of course there are many religious texts of each and every religions where you can study the religions. Okay, now Buddhism was accepted by a large section of the people. Suppose the universities of Nalanda, Takshila, and Vikramshila, it became the centers of Buddhist learning. Okay, how many universities were there? The universities of Nalanda, Takshila, and Vikramshila, it became the centers of Buddhist learning. Okay, now the next is spread of Buddhism. Now, students, during the region of Kanishka, Buddhism was divided into two sects. Okay, in how many sects the Buddhism was divided into? Two. That is Hinayana or Mahayana. Okay. Now, Hinayana means the lesser vehicle. Okay, Hinayana, it means the lesser vehicle, and Mahayana, it means the greater vehicle. Okay. Now, in this two sect, there are two different things. Okay, that is those who belong to the Hinayana sect followed the Buddha's teachings only. Okay, what is the major difference between Hinayana and Mahayana? I am explaining you. The first thing is, those who belong to the Hinayana sect, they followed only Buddha's teaching. Okay, and those who followed Mahayana text, okay, means those who followed Mahayana or greater vehicle, they believe that the Buddha was an incarnation of God. Okay, means they started worshipping idols. Okay, what did they started? They started worshipping the idols. Okay, in the form of bodhisattvas. Okay, now this is a means these are the two major difference between the Hinayana and Mahayana. Is that clear? I hope you have understood. And other points are written. You may go through it. Got it? Now, let us proceed to our next topic, that is next great man and next religion, that is Jainism. Okay. Now, as I told you, there were two main religions formed and with the two different men's. Now you will study here about the Vardhaman Mahavira, that is Jain. You will study about the Jainism and also how it was founded and how it came into existence. Okay. Now, students, Jainism was founded by Rishabdeva. Okay, that is Adinath. And the Jains, they count Mahavira as the last of the 24 teachers. Okay, or they are also known as teachers or Tirthankaras. Okay, means 24 Tirthankaras also you may say, a collection of teachings also you may say to it, and also 24 different teachers also you may say. Okay, now who was the last Tirthankar? The 24th Tirthankar was Lord Mahavira. Okay, who was the last Tirthankar? The 24th Tirthankar was Lord Mahavira. Okay, now what do you mean by Jainism? Students, the term Jainism, it derived from the term Jin, meaning a person who has overpowered his sensual vices and had obtained full control over his worldly desires. Is that clear? Now, the next is the three Ratnas or three jewels of Jainism. See, the major three jewels are right knowledge, right belief, and right action. Okay. Now, students, Jainism mainly aims at the attainment of freedom. Okay, that is, they taught main five doctrines. Okay, Jainism taught five doctrines. Okay, the first is do not commit violence. Second doctrine is do not speak a lie. Third is do not steal. Fourth is do not acquire property. And fifth is observe continence. Okay. Now, here, students, the teachings of Mahavira, as I told you, that right faith, right knowledge, and right conduct. What do you mean by this three ratnas? Okay, what do you mean by this three ratnas? Students, right faith means belief in the teachings and wisdoms of Mahavira. Okay, right knowledge. Right knowledge means acceptance of theory that there is no God and that all objects possess a soul. And the last is right conduct, one servants of five great vows, that is not to injure life, not to lie, not to steal, and not to acquire property, also not to lead immoral life. Okay, these are the brief explanation of three ratnas. Okay, now what are the facts about Jainism? What this symbol shows us, or what this hand shows us? Now, students, Jainism spread from Orissa in the east to the Gujarat in the west and also in the south. Now, it also spread to Gujarat and Rajasthan, where the followers of the Shvetambara sect lived, and Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh, where the followers of the Digambaras sect lived. Okay. Now, students, the hand with a wheel on the palm, it is a symbol of ahimsa in Jainism. Okay. And the wheel represents the Dharma Chakra and it stands for the resolve to the held the samsara, okay, and also through the relentless pursuit of truth and non-violence. Means this complete symbol, it is the symbol where all the texts were written in the form of Prakrit, okay, and also it teaches us about the truth and non-violence. Is that clear? Now, the next topic of the chapter is the Sangha. First of all, students, Sangha was established by Gautam Buddha in the 5th century BC, and also the term Sangha means the assembly of community. Okay, it is used to refer to the Buddhist or Jain groups, and also it was founded to the spread the message of Buddha far and wide. Okay. Now, even Shudras, they could join the Sanghas. Got it? And both men and women who joined the Sangha led the simple life. Okay, means those men and women who had joined the Sangha, they used to live very simple life, and almost they were busy with the meditation. Is that clear? Now, even they taught others and helped one another. Is that clear? And those who joined the Sangha, they included the Brahmins, Kshatriyas, merchants, and slaves. Okay. Now, here you may see the Buddha and Sangha, how they are taking the teachings and how the complete knowledge is passed. Okay. Now, the next is Viharas. Now, students, the Buddha established many monasteries, okay, and these monasteries were known as viharas, okay. Now, Buddhist monks lived in these monasteries, okay, they used to live in these monasteries, and these monasteries were also the centers of education. Got it? As time passed, many supporters of the monks felt the need for more permanent shelters, okay, and these were also known as viharas, and these viharas were made of wood and then of the bricks. Okay, now just see the picture of Buddhist viharas. See, here they used to live and they used to lead a very very simple life without anything. Okay, this caves and all you may see, and this is nothing but they are leading a very simple life in this. Okay, now the next and the last topic of the chapter is Upanishad. What do you mean by Upanishad? Okay. Now, students, at the time when the Buddha was preaching, many Hindu thinkers, they were discussing the new ideas. Okay. And the new ideas about the Atman. They raised questions about life and death. Okay. And the need for the sacrifice. Now, most of the ideas of these thinkers were recorded in the Upanishads. Now, first of all, what do you mean by Upanishads? See, students, it contains the highest spiritual and moral truths which all of us can practice in the daily life. Okay. Now, Up means near, and Ni means down, and Shad means sit. That is, Swami often used to say that living with God is a true education. Okay. Now, many Upanishadic thinkers, they were men, in fact, Brahmins and Rajas also. Okay. And poor people hardly participated in these discussions. Okay. Now, students, the main topic of the Upanishad is the ultimate knowledge, the identity of the Brahman and the Jivatma. Okay. Now, there are 13 main Upanishads. Okay. There were 13 main Upanishads, and they were written between the 8th and 4th century BC. Now, students, different Upanishads are related with the four Vedas. I hope you remember the four Vedas. That is, the first is Rigveda, second is Yajurveda, third is Samaveda, and the fourth is Atharveda. Okay, and the longest and the oldest Upanishads are Brihadrayanaka and Chandogaya Upanishad. Okay, this is all about the Upanishads, and now all the topics of the chapters are covered. Though it is a very small and short chapter, we have completed it. And if any doubts, you can contact me. Okay, and very soon I'll update the answers. And also, please complete all the previous chapters and send it to me. Okay, thank you. And students, many of the students have not sent their work. Please send it to me. And even once I'll send the exercise of this chapter, please complete this also and send it to me. Okay, that's all.